Dan Illman, Matt Bernier taking a look at graded stakes action from Arlington Park on Saturday. Race number 7 is the Grade 3 Hanshin Cup. It's a one-turn mile over the poly-track surface. Let's take a look at this field. It's a big, good, evenly matched group, and nonetheless, the number 6 is 7-2 on the morning line. And trainer Cipriano Contreras won this race last year with Matru, a horse that I believe was going dirt to synthetic. Going to try to do the same trick with Nonetheless, who's just been in excellent form. Won the Kentucky Cup Classic over the poly track at Turfway, 2-back. Good effort in the Grade 3 Ben Ali in his most recent start at Keeneland, but let's be honest, probably synthetic racing is what he wants.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at that Turfway Park race 2 starts back, it was a giant effort. This has been a great claim. They got him for 40 grand last June, and he was always a nice horse, but he's really taken his game to the next level here. And you brought it up specifically on synth. You've got the 2 runs at Turfway since the claim, both of them victories, both of them with very competitive speed figures. I suppose my only piece that I would throw out there, I know he has won at this distance in the past. I do wonder if a one-turn mile is slightly shorter than ideal for him.
He should get a good pace set up in here. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I want to discuss the number 5, Sir Anthony, who's 9-2 on the morning line. This horse made a big name for himself at Gulfstream over the winter, defeating Audible over a sloppy track in the Grade 3 Harlan's Holiday. Now, he got a great trip, saving ground on the inside while Audible had to go the long way around, but I thought Sir Anthony wasn't embarrassed in the Grade 3 Howell's Hope behind the extremely sharp Prince Lucky, and last time out in the skip away, he ran quite well considering the lack of pace up front. Synthetic, no problems for him in the past, and he's another horse that gets the right setup.
Yeah, he's one that I can understand anyone that likes this horse and wants to make an argument for him. My only knock here is I like him when he's at those bigger prices, whether it's 15-1, 12-1, somewhere in there. He's 9-2 on the morning line here. And look, I understand he's run against some bigger and better names, and now this is going to be a little bit of class relief. You brought up he's had success on synthetic. There's just a part of me that at 4.5-1, he's just not that appealing.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector. Red bar situation, which means fast pace. We've got the 4, the 9, and the 10 expected to be contesting. No surprise with the 4. Richie's in the house. Let's throw out the Grade 3 Commonwealth. They tried dirt with this horse. It is not what he wants to do. He has won 8 of his last 9 races on synthetic. Coincidence, though, that the loss came going a mile. Is this horse better suited to sprinting, especially when you see a scenario like this?
Yeah, I think it's a really tough call because keep in mind that race at Presque Isle going a mile is 2 turns as opposed to a 1-turn mile that he's going to be going with here. And it just makes me think a little bit. We have a situation where maybe this is going to be okay for him. I personally think he's probably better at 3/4 and even 7/8. Maybe 7/8 is kind of the limit for him. I'm not going to fault anyone that wants to give him an opportunity here, but boy, he's going to have to work every step of the way.
10 Lanier might be able to work out at least a decent trip of the front runners, sitting 3rd on the outside in the clear away from traffic, and maybe hoping that the 4 and 9 are better suited to shorter distances and burn themselves out. Lanier, I think, just found the 1 1/8 in the Kentucky Cup Classic a little bit too far, while Nonetheless was saving ground in behind and getting a nice trip. Lanier had to deal with a couple of other horses. He opened up the lead in the stretch, and the distance was a little bit long. I like him cutting back in distance here. I like him in sitting on the outside with this post position. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs well. 16 of 31 in the exacta.
Yeah, and like you say, I mean, he has that versatility. He can sit off of a target, still be effective, ran really well in that Kentucky Cup Classic, and I think this turn back in distance works for him.
Gita's Lad, the number 1, we have him sitting in the second flight. All this horse has done is win 3 races in a row. Lightly raced 4-year-old that just seems to keep getting better and better, and there's one of our angles, Matt, paired up Beyer Thompson. His first 2 starts as a 4-year-old. Wouldn't be surprised with a forward move, but is he a dirt horse?
That's the real question for me. Like you say, I like the paired up Beyer tops. I like the slight turn back from 1.70 to a mile. His only synthetic race, a bit of a disaster, but it preceded a little layoff. So it does make me wonder maybe something went wrong that day. I don't know that I want him at 10-1, but if he went off 15, 20-1, maybe I could be enticed underneath.
Let's see a formulator fact for one of the speeds, the 9, Gone Ghost, who has won 11 of 18 lifetime starts. Scott Becker over the past 3 years, with horses aged 3 and up returning from a 2 to 4 month layoff on synthetic, winning 33% of the time, a 457 return on investment. He had to go very fast last time out at Turfway in that 4-go stakes, going 6.5 furlongs. He has won around 2 turns on dirt in the past. So of the speed horses, I like him better at this distance. Becker winning 32% in 2019.
My big concern with Gone Ghost is I think he's at his absolute best when he's on the lead. And if he's going to go and clear off from some of these other speeds, boy, he's going to be going so fast in here. Not that he's incapable from sitting just off, but I think he's much better when he's out there dictating things.
Before we get to our top picks, let's talk about a few longer priced horses. What's up, dude? On the far outside, hasn't been in very good form recently, but he is getting back to the surface where he's had the most success. He's 4 for 12 on synth, and he hasn't run on a synthetic surface since September, when he was an okay third behind Goodbye Greg, who was in very good form at that time.
Difficult to really recommend at this point. I suppose you probably look at that Hawthorne race and say nothing more than a means to an end to get him to this spot. But boy, even having said that, he looks like he needs to improve big way.
I've always been a big fan of Eckersley from Southern California. It just is hard keeping him on the racetrack. He's 7 years old. He's only run 17 times. He hasn't won a race in close to 2 years. His one and only start on synthetic, I know it was on Tapeta, and this is Polytrack. I thought it was a really good effort in the Grade 3 All-American Stakes way back in 2016, where he had some trouble. He finished evenly in behind horses. That was a good field. And he's done some good things on turf as well. I'm just wondering what we're going to get from him. He's 7 years old. I would use him underneath in exotics.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of think underneath is where he belongs. He's just stuck in that N2X rank. And like you say, he did run really well back in 2016 at Golden Gate, the All-American. He's going to need something close to that to win here.
The 8 Mach Tree did some very good work last year over the Tapeta surface at Woodbine, finishing first in the Wando before being disqualified, and then earning a graded stakes placing in the Marine Stakes. He sold for $57,000 at the Keeneland November 2018 auction. He's run twice on turf for Ben Colebrook. I like that he showed a little more speed last time out. I think he's going to improve getting back to the synth, but I think he's got to get back to that spring 2018 form. Maybe even he'll do a little better.
Yeah, I will say, though, the sneaky thing for me, the figures may not suggest it, and his record as far as wins may not suggest it. I think he's better on synth than he is on grass. I think this move back is going to be beneficial.
And the 4th place finisher from his most recent start came back to win a 2X at Churchill Downs with a 96 Beyer speed figure. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 3 Hanshin Cup. It's one of your sons, and you got to stick with him, and that's why we love you, Matt. It's loyalty. Re-Ride, you've been following for a very, very long time. It looks like this horse was purchased privately over the winter, turned over to Nacho Correas, and similar to the horse we just talked about, Mach Tree. I like that he showed improved speed in his second start of the form cycle. To me, that's a sign of a horse coming back into form. Can he handle the synth? The Candy Rides, to me, can handle anything.
I'd like to think he can. Look, I've been waiting for this horse to get back to grass and a flat mile for what seems like an eternity. It's only been about a year, but the idea for me is I just think that this turn back in distance is going to help him. You brought up that improved speed he showed at Keeneland most recently. I don't think he's going to be up there part of the pace. I think he's going to be in just behind. If he takes the synthetic, I think he should trip out in here. I'm telling you, you want to talk about, for my money anyway, the most dirtied up horse that you're going to find? It's this horse, because he hasn't been allowed to do what he wants to do. I don't know if synthetic is that either, but he's going to be a good price. I have to give him another chance.
Revved Up is another horse trying synth for the first time. Like Re-Ride, he is by Candy Ride. Again, 18% winners with all synthetic runners. Revved Up has some back class. He's multiple graded stakes placed on the turf. Maybe this distance is a little bit short for him, but if you think there's going to be some gas up front, it really plays right into this horse's strengths. After running second in the Grade 3 Arlington Handicap last summer, he sold for $350,000. Went to Jorge Abreu. It didn't work out. His first start for Mark Casse, I just don't think he got the right setup. He didn't break very well. The pace held up. He passed a few tired horses late. I like that they're taking the blinkers off. I like that they're running him in this one-turn race. I'm hoping Mark Casse gets some pace with Revved Up. He's got some back class, 8-1 on the morning line.
The only thing that concerned me, you touched on it at the top, is just the distance.
Yep.
There's a part of me that wonders if he just needs a little bit more in here. I agree. He should get the setup. He certainly has the class, and he's run numerous figs fast enough to win in here. The distance was the only thing that concerned me.
Give me numbers.
3692.
210.56 for me in the Grade 3 Hanshin Cup, the feature race at Arlington Park on Saturday. It has an approximate post time of 4:35 Central. Best of luck.